It was so dark when at last Lenny arrived that he could not see the place. The windows were blacked out. Then, all at once, he was in a huge hall, so big that it seemed their whole house in London could have fitted into it easily. There were no rabbits that Lenny could see, just some tired grown-ups bustling about, and two girls bigger than him, who were called Joyce and Patsy, with a little one called Winnie. They were evacuees. Lenny was one too. A lady wearing a great many scarves and woolly cardigans said, "I am Lady Devas. You must be very tired. Nanny will give you your supper, and I will show you where you're going to sleep." "We specifically asked for girls," Nanny complained, eyeing Lenny. "I'm afraid it's too late now, Nanny," said Lady Devas. "And he is not a very big boy," she added kindly. The evacuees were to sleep in a big attic room with dark beams overhead. It was chilly and had no electric light or carpets, but there was a nice woody smell. A curtain hung down in the middle. Joyce, Patsy and Winnie were together on one side, and Lenny was alone on the other. Nanny left a couple of the little lamps burning when she said good night. Lenny got down under the blankets. He lay awake for a long time, watching the shadows moving in the high roof. He could hear the girls whispering behind the curtain. Then Winnie began to cry. Lenny felt numb. The only thing that seemed real at that moment was the brass badge that Dad had given him, underneath his pillow. He went to sleep clutching it. Lenny woke very early while the girls were still asleep. He could hear far-away stirring noises in the house and faint echoing footsteps, but no one came. He got out of bed, pattered over to the window and pulled the blackout curtain aside. His mouth fell open. He looked out over a jumble of roofs and chimneys, not the squat, blackened kind like they had in London, but a fairground of barley sugar shapes with grinning gargoyle waterspouts winking in the sun. Beyond that, still wrapped in haze, were gardens, outhouses, meadows with great spreading trees and a humped-up hill rising behind like a cut-out paper shape. So this was the country. He had never seen anything like it. The great house which Lenny had come to was very old. It had countless rooms. Lady Devas, who owned the place, lived in one part, Nanny in the other. The army of servants who had once looked after the house and the garden had now shrunk down to Mrs. B, who cooked, Nellie, who helped with the cleaning and washing up, and an old gardener called Bill Penny. The evacuees had their breakfast in the kitchen, in a kitchen as big as the synagogue Lenny went to at home. It was warm in there, but Lenny was shy and miserable. Nellie smiled at him. There was porridge with plenty of milk and thick slices of bread and marge, but Mrs. B was cross when Lenny would not eat the bacon she gave him. "There's good food wasted. I'll not have that," she scolded. "We don't eat bacon in our family," said Lenny in a low voice. Everyone stopped eating and stared at him. Joyce's eyes were as round and as hard as marbles. Even Winnie stopped grizzling. Lenny felt his ears turning pink. But he was stubborn. He thought of Mum and Dad, and he still wouldn't eat the bacon. In the end, Mrs. B gave in and told the children to take their dirty plates into the scullery and get out from under her feet. The girls went off giggling, trailing Winnie after them. Lenny did not know what he was supposed to do, so he wandered off into the yard, through a big gate and into the gardens. He walked along paths with wide, overgrown flower beds and peeped into long greenhouses. He found a goldfish pond, like the one at the park at home, but it was choked with weeds and the fish had gone. There was a summer house, half hidden in ivy, and beyond it, set in a high stone wall, a wooden door. It was not the door to somebody's house. Lenny knew that. It was a garden door. He remembered hearing somewhere about a secret garden that was locked up for years and years and nobody ever went in. Cautiously, he pushed the door. It creaked open. Inside was a little garden, like a room without a roof. It had criss-cross mossy paths, lined with knee-high hedges and stone seats. In the centre was a great rosebush with trailers which swept the ground. It was very quiet in there. Then a bird flew up with a great clatter of wings, and Lenny saw something on the far side of the garden, high up on a pedestal by the wall. At first he thought it was something alive and watching him, but it was too still to be alive. He went over to it. It was a unicorn, carved in stone, just like the one on his badge. It did not look fierce. Strong, perhaps, and very beautiful, with its curved neck and long mane. Prancing there alone in the shadow of the wall, it seemed as lonely as he was. Lenny felt a huge relief to have found this place. It made him feel more like himself again. He made up his mind to come back there whenever he could.